Well, guys, we've gotten sniper rifles, grenade launchers, a minigun, an RPG, a flamethrower, and now we have a bow and arrow. It almost feels like we're taking a step back. Anyway, this is the Plainsrider Bow, and something I wanted to point out, I just noticed looking here at the preview, is this marking down here looks a lot like Overkill's logo. Never noticed that. And in the first-person view, you can only see these top four, although I have no idea what these mean, so... Anyway, let's take a look at the stats. It has a magazine of 1, total ammo of 50, rate of fire of 300, damage of 195, accuracy of 18, stability of 24, concealment of 30, and threat of 37. Now, since this is a bow and not a gun that shoots bullets, most of these stats are actually pretty meaningless. You know, rate of fire, accuracy, stability, these things don't mean very much. It has a damage of 195, which is about as high as sniper rifles. Total ammo of 50, so it has 50 arrows you can go through. That's pretty good. And something else to note is that it has 30 concealment, which is really high. It is actually the only other primary weapon to reach 30 concealment, the other one being the Car 4, everyone's beloved favorite assault rifle. So that instantly makes it a unique weapon for stealth, and especially since it shoots silent bows. It's not loud. So let's take a look at the mods. Oh, I'm sorry, I mean mod. This thing can take explosive arrows, and it'll increase the damage by 65, and it actually does not decrease anything else. Whereas normally, you know, when you slap on, say, like HE rounds, you would increase the damage, but you would lose out on your total ammo, and as well as some accuracy. Or actually, you would gain some accuracy. So this one, you just up your damage, but you don't really lose anything. Although, there are some pretty big trade-offs, and I will go over those later. But yeah, just looking at the weapon from the stats, you can't really tell much from it. I mean, it's a bow and arrow. It's not gonna function quite like a gun. You know, the arrows, they have an arc to it, they have travel time, and you have to take into account the time it takes to draw the string back to get the maximum range and the maximum damage you can get from the arrows. And even then, you still have to worry about getting headshots as well, you know. So, let's take a look at the gameplay. Alrighty guys, so right now this is actually some post-commentary, and while I normally don't do this, it turns out that using the bow takes a lot more concentration than normal, and when I tried to do my usual thing, not much actually came out of my mouth. So regarding the bow, I actually have quite a bit to talk about it. It's a very unique weapon, to say the least, and well, where should I begin? It doesn't pick up ammo like normal guns, and the ammo that drops from cops does nothing for the bow. The only ammo that you can pick up is from the arrows you shot out, either from the corpses of dead cops or from the ground when you missed your shot. Of course, when you use explosive arrows, they blow up, so you can't actually replenish your arrows in that way. Ammo bags do fill up your arrows though, and if you happen to have Swan Song, what you can do is shoot in rapid succession without drawing the bow back at all, and what'll happen is you'll shoot an infinite amount of arrows at your feet. Shooting it in this manner does not blow up your explosive arrows, so in that sense, this is actually a pretty cheesy method of replenishing your arrows. Of course, you can also do it with normal arrows too, and you'll actually see me do it a few times in this game. I guess since we're already on the topic of the explosive bow, the reason why I didn't use it is because gameplay-wise, it's not very special when compared to the other explosive weapons. I will say, though, that for an explosive weapon, it is really fun. It has a pretty small blast radius, but since you have 50 arrows, you can spam them pretty heavily. It has the most starting ammo of any of the explosive weapons, and unlike HE rounds, after a few arrows, things would actually start dying. I think the most notable thing about the explosive arrows is that they can one-shot a shield on Death Wish, which makes them incredibly nice to use. Now, using the actual bow is much harder. I would say that there's even a pretty high skill ceiling for this weapon. It's a little difficult to aim, and you have to take into account the time it takes the arrow to travel to your target, as well as the arc. And funny enough, one of the things that threw me off in this game was when you aim straight up to get a guy on the roof, you really have to adjust your aim. It's not the same as aiming at a guy on the same level as you. So while getting your aim down might be hard at first, you can eventually get the hang of it, though even if you are comfortable using it, it'll never be as easy as using a hit scan weapon. Also, something worth mentioning is that even if you have perfect aim with the bow, it'll never be quite as efficient as a gun. The time it takes for someone to line up a shot and bring back the bow's drawstring all the way back to get the full range and damage of the arrow is a pretty stupidly long time. And with how many cops they send at you on Death Wish, the bow is hard to use simply because you have a hard time thinning their numbers. Of course, being really skilled with the bow, as well as having a good team, definitely helps. And this is actually something I quite like about the weapon though. It's not an easy mode gun or anything. You definitely still need to go for headshots as well. The bow is pretty ineffective otherwise, at least on this difficulty. Though, I think when you go for long ranges, it almost seems as if the hitbox for hitting the head actually becomes more forgiving, so maybe that's just me. I know on Death Wish, it only takes one arrow to the head to kill a tan, but it takes at least 2 for cloakers and 2 or 3 for tasers, which makes specials a little bit harder to deal with, especially if you have a cloaker that's at full health and he's charging you. So that's actually why in this particular build, I have Counter-Strike, though in the game I'm playing right now, I don't actually think I ever had the chance to use it. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the bow is also a very good stealth weapon. With a base concealment of 30, makes it real easy to get low visibility. And another thing that's really nice about it is that because it has such high damage, you can actually one-shot murky water guards when they're alerted. So you don't have to worry about shooting your car for 50 times and hoping it'll die before he lets off a shot. Nope, you just aim for the head and he'll die. And because it also has good concealment, that also means it's really great for crit builds. Although I haven't actually done any crit builds yet, though I do plan on doing a few in the future and trying that out, seeing if the bow is useful in that way. And we are only a couple minutes in, and I thought I had a lot to talk about, but I guess I ran out of stuff. I have a little piece of paper here, and I went through everything. So, well, I mean, overall, I really like the bow. I really enjoy the play style that it forces you to play. You know, you can't just run and gun and gung-ho everything with a shotgun. Now, you really have to take your time, and you have to have decent aim as well. It's a very fun weapon. I definitely see myself coming back to using it a lot more. You know, not as much as like the minigun where I used it a lot when it first came out, but then now I don't really touch it. So, yeah. I'll stop babbling and I'll let you guys enjoy the rest of the gameplay.
Power's back. Get to the terminal and restart the download.
You don't need the reboot.
Try and keep the cops from hitting those circuit breakers.
Good. One sniper less in the world.
Almost lost it there, but you came through okay. Let's get back up and go to work.
That's where I can see them. I got contact. Yo, Wolf, come with me.
Gotcha.
Hoxton, on my 6. Shield!
Shield! Shield taking
Taser! Taser!
That's a taste.
Now.
Taken care of. History.
Drop it! Hands down! Drop it! Drop the fucking weapon!
Huxton's down. They got the power. Get it back up or we can't continue the download. Now, return to the terminal and get the kickstart. Huxton is down.
Get back up and fight! Hands up!
Great. Now get back to the terminal and restart the download. Huxton's down.
Somebody drop a medic back. Here's a first aid kit. Oh, got a first aid kit here.
Hands down! Hands down!
They cut the power to the network. You need to get it back on.
Show me some hands, motherfucker! Shield!
Power's back. Get to the terminal and restart the download.
Fucking hate technology. You don't need fixing.
I've got the first half of the database. It may be enough, and maybe not. It's your call. Get out of there now, or stay and get the second half.
Drop the fucking weapon! Get that shit now!
Receiving the data now. It should be enough for me to find where the right truck is headed. Just keep it coming.
Police are retreating.
God damn it. You had me worried back there. Now patch yourselves up and get back in the game.
Snipers pushing up daisies.
You need to take hostages. Tie them down. Or make a law enforcer cuff himself.
Eyes on the cloaker.
Power's down. Look for the circuit box and get it back on.
Cloaker down.
Eyes on the cloaker. Cloaker.
Down.
Cloaker's an angel.
Well, if you have to get loud, best do it properly. And that was some outstanding action. You got the whole database. We're sifting through the info now.